Nancy Pelosi is disputing a talking point that we've been hearing in the mainstream media quite a bit lately, that a sitting president cannot be indicted. Well, there's nothing in the Constitution that says that a sitting president cannot be indicted. And this talking point is perpetuated by a Department of Justice guideline from back in the day. So Nancy Pelosi addresses this during a recent interview with the Today Show, and here's her take on it.
Do you believe the special counsel should honor and observe the Department of Justice guidance that states a sitting president cannot be indicted?
I do not think that that is conclusive. No, I do not.
So you think it's possible that special counsel Mueller could legally indict a sitting president?
Let's just see what Mueller does. Let's spend our time on getting results for the American people.
As you well know, there is longstanding Department of Justice guidance that states a sitting president should not be indicted. But it is not the law.
No, it is not the law. Everything indicates that a president can be indicted after he is no longer president of the United States.
What about a sitting president?
Well, the sitting president when he's no longer president of the United States.
A president who is in office. Okay. Could Robert Mueller come back and say, I am seeking an indictment?
I think that that is an open discussion. I think that is an open discussion in terms of the law.
So I agree with her on that. Yes, there is Justice Department guidance on this, but it is not a law. It's not written in our Constitution. There's no indication that it would be impossible for a sitting president to be indicted. I mean, first of all, I think it really depends on the crime, right? The alleged crime. So if a sitting president has been charged with something super serious, like let's say murder, right? What, that person can't be indicted until they're no longer president?
Yeah, so overall, I agree with her tenor. There's an important point I'm going to disagree with in a little bit, but in terms of the indictment, the Justice Department guidance was from 1973. That doesn't mean it's wrong, and it is their guidance, and I think it has some weight. The Supreme Court has never weighed in on it. Now, theoretically, I was going to say if the president shot someone, we would,
what, impeach him? I don't know with Republicans.
But with the Republicans, I don't know if that theory holds.
Yeah.
So if they and it's not going to be murder, okay? But then you get into how serious is the crime, and will the Republicans impeach or not impeach? But a crime is a crime, so. And I don't mean jaywalking, I mean serious enough, like a felony, for example, the campaign finance violation. So what if the Republicans say, no, we're not going to impeach, I don't care. But it is a clear felony, and I mean, any other person but the president would be charged. That's very problematic for our democracy to say that we will not indict a sitting president under any circumstance. And 2 years from now, the statute of limitations might have run, and witnesses will forget and have faulty memory. Prosecutors will have a harder time trying it. And you know how Democrats are, they'll say we don't look backward, we look forward. So there are signs for concern about the Democrats' zeal in pursuing this. We don't want it to be political either, but we also don't want to let him get away with it if he actually committed a crime.
Don't you feel like what's happening right now is not only testing our system of government, but also showing that it has glaring flaws, right? Because the whole point of three branches of government is checks and balances. And right now, especially over the last 2 years, we've had a Republican-controlled Congress that had no interest in serving as a check on the executive branch's power. And so when you have that failure in our political system, and then you add on this guidance by the Justice Department, then that means that there could be no justice for the American people if the president is found guilty of committing a serious crime.
Yeah, and so it's a balancing act. So you don't want the opposing party to try to arrest the president willy-nilly. Trust me that the Republicans would immediately begin to abuse that. On the other hand, you can't let the president be above the rule of law. So that's why it's a balancing act. That's why it's not an easy answer for the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi, so let's be fair about that. And Mueller has not come forward yet, so we don't know, other than the campaign finance violations, how serious it is. Although I can guarantee you the Republicans would not have paused for 1 second if Obama had clearly committed a felony as Trump has. So let's just be clear about that. But I would not want the Democrats pursuing a non-serious crime, to be honest with you. I didn't like it when the Republicans did it to Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
And you can disagree with me that whether that was a serious or non-serious crime, but I don't think that it was worthy of impeachment or indictment. And if it was along those lines and I thought the Democrats were doing it for political reasons, I would not agree. In this case, we already have one serious crime on the board and likely far more coming up, which then leads us to the impeachment discussion.
Right, so now that we know what Nancy Pelosi believes in regard to a sitting president possibly getting indicted, what does she think about Trump getting impeached? And this is a nuanced answer. I'll give you some more details after you watch the clip.
Many Democrats are talking about impeachment. You've said it would be sad and divisive for the country to pursue impeachment. Yeah. Are you willing to rule it out?
Well, we have to wait and see what happens with the Mueller report. We shouldn't be impeaching for a political reason, and we shouldn't avoid impeachment for a political reason. So we'll just have to see how it comes.
Yeah, I actually think that's a nearly perfect answer.
Yeah,
She's gonna muck it up a little bit here in one other thing that she said, but first I want to give her credit. I think that's exactly right. Do not impeach for a political reason, but do not stop impeachment for a political reason either. And before the elections, Democrats for political reasons were very worried about bringing up impeachment because they thought that might hurt their chances in the election. Now, the Mueller report hadn't come out yet, so it's okay, as they got lucky in that sense. But if it had come out and it was damning and they refused to talk about it because of their ideology that, hey, all politics is the same as it was in the 1990s, which is preposterously wrong, then it would have been infuriating. But for now, I think that's the exact right balance.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, if the Mueller report had come out and it was damning and it had proven that Trump was guilty of all the things that we suspect him of being guilty of, and she said, no impeachment, it's gonna look political, then it would be ridiculous. But in this case, the Mueller report hasn't come out and she's doing the right thing here. I think that it would look really, really bad for congressional Democrats to go forward with any type of attempt to impeach him right now.
So for example, no, look, and that also depends too, of course. If Mueller report were to, for example, never come out, then I would say, yeah, I think you should probably go forward on the felony violation of the hush money that was clearly a crime that Michael Cohen is going to prison for 3 years. Why is one guy going to prison for 3 years and the other guy you can't touch? But it doesn't matter because Mueller report is going to come out, and I think it is correct to wait for it so you have all the information before you make decisions so it doesn't seem preemptive. It seems justified if that's the direction they're gonna go.
Right, but so look, for Democrats, remember, we're thinking about this from a justice standpoint. Politicians are not gonna think about it from a justice standpoint. I'm sure that that's a factor that they consider, but what they consider more than anything is how is this gonna look? And for most Americans, unfortunately, they don't care about those campaign contributions. Even some Democrats that write into the show think, well, is there really any proof that this was a campaign finance violation? They just, even if they're wrong, they don't buy into it. So it would look political if Democrats went after Trump over that and that only.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that, but that's okay. It's a fair disagreement to have, and the Mueller report's gonna come out. So last thing on Pelosi, she told USA Today that she does not intend to seek grounds for impeachment unless it's, quote, clearly bipartisan. No, that I don't agree with at all. If the Mueller report comes out and there's really serious crimes in there, but the Republicans go, yeah, whatever, but Trump will have mean tweets about me and I'll get primaried, so I don't care. That is an incredibly high likelihood. It could be so devastating that the Republicans go, oh, okay, you guys are right, okay, but that's less likely. And so if we're gonna need Republican permission to pursue impeachment, if it is warranted, why did we put the Democrats in charge?
I know, it just further proves that Democrats can be very weak, and it's sad.
Yeah, she almost had it and we would have been happy to give her credit today, and on a historic day where she's now Speaker of the House again. Only two other people have been non-consecutive Speaker of the House twice, including Congressman Rayburn and Henry Clay. She's the first female Speaker of the House. She was back in 2007. Here she is again. And I think that her comments on impeachment were just right until she had to say, well, I'm gonna wait till it's clearly bipartisan. And unfortunately, that gets to our frustrations with Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic leadership. Same thing on PAYGO. They want permission from Republicans. We didn't elect Republicans. It was a tidal wave. 40 to 41 seats they picked up. That is one of the largest pickups in United States history. So when you have a wave like that, you're not supposed to go ask the other party for permission. Like what you see? Click the subscribe button below and don't forget to ring the bell to never miss another video from the Young Turks.